Hey Axie Rankers, this is the video you all have been asking according to the poll I made today. This will be a full guide on my current team that took me to near top 500 these days. I'll show you how the team works and more importantly, what Axies you should buy. Please grab a piece of paper and take notes, everything you need to start climbing the ranks will be shown now. But first, let me thank you for all the support you've been giving in my previous videos, it really helps and I'll do my best to give back a ton of value today. I also want to do a huge disclaimer here. The fact that you buy a better team will not make you win by itself, you will still need to learn it and practice. And thousands of people are watching my videos, so some of the Axies I'll show today may not be available when you try to buy, or maybe at higher prices because we're actually moving the market with these videos, alright? So pay really close attention now and let's go. So, today we will be talking about this team that uses a Mech Backliner, an Aqua Midliner and a plant tank. We will start on the concept and strategy behind the team and why it works so well in the arena, and then we will shop. This will probably be a longer than usual video, so I'm sorry for that. The first thing that you need to understand, is that for the team to work, each Axie will have a specific role. It doesn't matter if you change the cards in the Axie, as long as it keeps the core strategy and concept. You can buy a team like this for less than $900 and can go up to 2 or 3K depending on what you use. And you can really climb the ranks up to at least the same as I am right now, which is over 2.5k MMR and in the top 700. First, this is the team position. Mech and Aqua should be on top to make sure they hit the same Axie, and plan on mid. Now we will start with the Backliner. His role is to be a damage dealer. If you played MMOs or strategy games you are familiar with this. In this meta, you need to have a beast or mech with as high as possible damage. Not only that, but you will want to get one with at least 45 speed. The more the better, as you can see I'm using a 47 but it really depends on the rest of the team and cards. If you go for a mech, what you also want to have is 43 skill to increase the amount of damage you do. If you go for a beast with cards like Ronin, you will need to care more on morale and have it as higher as possible to increase crit damage. Now, the most important card in my opinion is Arco. This is probably the card that wins me the most games because it allows me to outspeed the opponent when needed. 45 or 47 speed with Arco, allow you to even be faster than Aquas or Birds by using 1 or 2 Arcos respectively. Then, ideally you will want to have a zero cost card to help you go around stuns. Comps with Terminators and Poison are still a thing, and they are really annoying, so this will help for sure. It doesn't need to be this card hero, any other will do the job. I just love this card because it helps me win games against one of the hardest matchups this team has, double anemones. Not only that, but against that team, it allows me to draw more cards and increase the chances to get the Arcos when needed. Finally, you need to have the most damaging beast cards you can get. It can be Double Nutcracker, Hare, Shiba, Axie Kiss, etc. Don't worry because I'll show you how to replace all these in a few minutes, to fit your budget. Just remember, this needs to be the damage dealer to kill tanks and close the games, that's his role. Now, for the Aqua, his role will be the sniper. You will want to snipe the biggest threat the opponent has as soon as possible. Usually, that's their Backliner and faster Axie, like a Bird or a Koi Aqua. In order to do that, you will want a backdoor card like Shrimp and 3 other damage cards. No zero costs here. Ideally, you will want to have at least 2 120 damage cards. If you go for the pure Aqua version of this, get a 57 speed Aqua. If you go for a more balanced Axie with beast or bug damage, you can get one a bit slower, like 54 or 55 speed. Remember that it all depends on the synergy between your Aqua and Backliner. If you don't have a mech or beast with high damaging beast cards, then you need to compensate that here. Does this make sense so far? There will be games where you can't backdoor, so speed and damage on this Aqua will make you win games. I'll show you a few options to buy in a few minutes. And finally for the tank, his role will be to tank damage and stall the game. You want him to survive long enough to help you get energy and the cards you need for you Aqua to snipe people. The ideal tank for this team will have cards that generate or steal energy, cards that help you draw the pieces of the combos you need and high sustainability with big shields. Now, if you mid and Backliner don't have enough damage because you got a budget version of the team, you may want to replace some of this utility cards for more damage like Cactus or Hotbutt. Remember, you can't buy a single Axie just to save money, sometimes that gets really expensive down the road, because you don't win as many games as you should and you don't get the 21 SLP per win. Does this make sense? You need to think the team as a whole, and that's how you save money and get to the top ranks. I hope this video is being helpful so far. let's finally go to the marketplace and get some cheaper ideas. First, I would recommend you to install an extension called Flowbot44. Please be careful when downloading extensions and never give your seed phrase etc. There are a lot of scams out there. This extension will allow you to have an idea of how much damage an Axie can actually do, even before buying it. It's not 100% accurate but really close, so I feel it's really helpful. As you can see, when you install this extension, you can actually drag the cards you want, and it will calculate the total damage it does against each class. Not only that, but if they are cards that have increased damage when some conditions are fulfilled, like Cerastes for example, that will also show you the increased damage. Really cool, right? You can simulate a full combo and see if that would kill an opponent. With everything we talked before in mind, let's shop the Backliner. Ideally you would want a Mech, in second place Beast, and if you can't find any on your budget, a Dusk or an Aqua. Let's start with a 47 speed Backliner. If you can't find any, use a 45, but please try to have an Arco to compensate the lack of speed as mentioned before. Let's try to find an Axie with Arco and Hero. This one is the first that jumps to my mind. He has 47 speed, Arco, Hero, Axie Kiss and Gila. A really good Axie for this price near the floor, right? It doesn't have as much beast damage as it should, but he has some reptile damage which helps against the double anemones and birds, right? And he can crit with the help of the Axie Kiss, so there's still outplay potential on the 1v1s. If you get this, remember that your other Axies will have to compensate the lack of beast damage. Synergy is everything. Let me show you some simulations on damage and how good this guy can be. And isn't this cheap? He can still kill most unshielded Axies with a 4-card combo, so that's a good start. And if you do a couple simulations on combos against double anemones like I did in my previous video, you will see that this guy is even better than mine in that matchup. Let's keep going for more ideas. This one, for example, would be a big no. Why? Because his Aqua card does nothing for this team and for this Axie that already lacks damage. The simulation we did before at least had a card that would help against a hard matchup for this team. This one doesn't. If you couldn't get anything else, I'd go for this Dusk. Dusk have less damage than mechs or beasts because of the low skill, but for budget purposes that would do. Again, compensate damage with your other Axies to make sure you can kill the tanks ASAP. I've used one like this in Balloon before and they were still good enough to help me win. If you check the simulation, Nutcrackers are only doing 147 damage, while when using a Beast or Dusk they go over 160. But for this price and 47 speed, this can work. There are a couple of these still available. People don't like them, but I do. And you could even get Godas as well for a more controlled build, but you would need to get Goda on your tank as well. Let me give you another example. As price is increasing we will find some cooler cards here. How about a high damaging Shiba? Axie Kiss doesn't have as much damage, but it's still okay and can lead to some good crits. Remember that crits will be better in a beast than a mech, but it works as a cheaper version. Still need some cheaper Axies? Try to lower to 45 speed now. Remember that Arco can still make you faster than Aquas or birds, but you will need to use 2 at once if you only have 45 speed. Let's try changing some cards now and see what else we can find. Check this out. I'm not really a fan of a single nutcracker, but if I could get this Axie for cheaper than this, I'd use it because he has hair. For this price, I'd try to go for any other option, but well, this is another good idea and way cheaper than mine. Let's try to find something with balloon instead. It still have damage and have a great outplay potential. You can fear people and prevent them from backdoor or steal energy sometimes. In my opinion, it's one of the most powerful cards in the game. It's just really hard to use and time it well. This one is exactly the same as I've used before. For this price on a Dusk, I'd rather have a 49 speed balloon. Balloon Axies should be really fast or balloon will hurt more than it helps, but hey, this is another alternative if you can't find anything cheaper. If you use this, remember that you will need more beast damage in the team. Check this example, this time with the 0 cost being post-fight. That was actually one of my first teams in Axie that took me to over 2k MMR. This one is really powerful, but you will need to end the game fast or have a high shield midliner like a backdoor reptile or Dusk. He has balanced beast and bird damage, so against Aquas that will help. Ignore this simulation because it's acting like if Risky Beast has the increased damage, and that doesn't happen that often. How about this one? I'm not a fan of Ronin because it requires a full combo to be effective, but with post-fight that's a really cheap way to explode the opponent. Really good damage, still have Arco, still have Axie Kiss to act as a suicidal beast and all. For this price, that's something I would play, and my final example for the backline would be a near the floor Axie with Pincer as the 0 cost. Check this out. Not as good as all Axies we have seen before, because he will lack damage with 1 nutcracker, and this is a mech with Ronin, not a beast, but well, it's still cheap, right? My last example would be one without a 0 cost. Really risky to play against stuns, but if you can't afford Arco, maybe you can try to slow opponents down, brickwall 1 turn and then be faster and finish them off. This Axie does a ton of damage with dual blade and the nutcrackers, and can put decent shield. But you need to manage your energies really well the entire game or you will be screwed. These were just a couple examples, but I think you can understand now what I mean with creating a budget team by following a concept and strategy. If you know how the team works, you can find something to fit in. Let's go for the Aqua and do the same. Remember, the Aqua should have 3 high damage cards, not 0 costs. Let's find some combos with 120 damage cards. This would be an option. He's a 57 speed Aqua with Shrimp and 2 120 damage cards. Goldfish is not as good this season, but if you're looking for a cheaper version, that will do. If you snipe a bird with Oranda and Piranha only, that bird will be in last stand and die if he doesn't put any shield. Same goes for mechs. If your cards do less damage, you will need to spend 4 cards. This one, for example, would be a big no. Can you guess why? Let me know in the comments below. If on your rank you are having a ton of reptiles or double plants, this can be a good and cheap alternative. Doesn't have as much aqua damage, but Risky Fish and Jaguar can help against those matchups. And these are also good, but getting to higher prices, so let's look for something else. This one has Pocky, one of the most damaging cards this season. If you would use a bug on the front, then this Axie would do a ton of damage. I really like this one as well. Even better with Piranha. Another alternative would be going for Appliers. But in this case, you would go for their tank most of the time to get the bonus, or time your backdoor really well to attack a shielded opponent. And for our final Aqua example, you could go for a Risky Beast. That's an amazing card, and if you could find it with Oranda, that would be huge for the team. Also, as I said before, if you use a beast or mech with post-fight, you may want to get a reptile midliner instead to brickwall a couple more. Try to find something with Cerastes to destroy aquas and birds, and if possible with some beast or bug damage as well. Something along these lines would be really good. I'd rather have anything else other than Iguana, but against double anemones this will be huge. Or something like this Dust with Incisor to slow them down. He doesn't have enough damage though, but good brickwall potential. This is just an example of what to look for. And finally, to end the guide, we're looking for a plant tank. Funny enough, this Axie used to cost around 0.06 when I started the videos. Some of you are really buying them all. Right now it is cheaper to get a zigzag version of it. And you can change the tank as necessary to fit your budget and compensate any lack of damage on your team. If you are facing too many poisons, you may want to use Bidens and more damage, etc. Remember, plants should be as slow as possible, but if they are too expensive, use a 32 speed or something. The 31 speed plant is more important when you use Cactus or Sirius. If you need damage and want to keep the initial strategy, you can go for something like this, really cheap as well, near the floor prices. It will be harder to combo the leaf bug though. Here's the Sirius version to help you counter double anemones too. They usually want to save energy for the backdoor, so if you steal that can help you win the game. Hot but are really cheap too if you need damage. I would rather take Cattail for the draws, they are really important in this team. And this will be my last suggestion for today. This is really high IQ. If you use a Goda Beast, use this as well. This creates so much pressure that the enemy will have to attack without saving any energy. And if they do, you will use Carrot to get a huge shift in momentum. You do damage, waste their energy and even get yours back. So, I really hope you enjoyed this guide and it truly helps you out. It took me a couple hours to finish, but I think it really has a ton of value, and can help you build a budget team to climb the ranks. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if you still have any question. If you want to see the team in action, go through the channel, I have a couple videos showcasing everything. Thank you for watching. Keep climbing the ranks.